nerdies, it's Kathleen here, and it is a great day to be gay. So, if you've heard of the recent news, gay marriage is legal in all 50 states. I could get married to a woman in Alabama, y'all, and there is nothing you can do about it. So, if you can imagine, I am super excited about this news. In fact, this is probably one of the gayest 2 weeks of my life, seeing as this law just passed. It's Pride Month. Pride festivals are blowing up everywhere. Us gays are just celebrating like we've never celebrated before. And honey, we know how to celebrate, okay, y'all? We know how to celebrate, and we are celebrating, y'all. I'm about to go to a gay wedding. I'm about to watch my friend Hark and Colin get married this 4th of July, and how perfect. It's 4th of July, I feel patriotic because I actually have the same rights as everyone else under the law. Yes, there is some work that we need to do, discrimination in the workplace. We've still got a long way to go for the transgender community, but this is a huge milestone and it's time to celebrate. So in celebration of this, I am going to make a top 5 video on my favorite gay, lesbian, bi, and transgender characters in video games. Let's get started! The first thing you'll notice about this list is that there are a lot of Bioware characters on it, which makes sense because Bioware is super LGBT friendly. So to start off, my first character is Dorian from Dragon Age.
I prefer the company of men. My father disapproves.
That's a big concern in Tevinter then.
Only if you're trying to live up to an impossible standard. Every Tevinter family is intermarrying to distill the perfect mage, perfect body, perfect mind, the perfect leader.
Now, the reason why this is one of my favorite gay characters is because he was actually written by a gay writer that based the character on his experiences. The experiences are very relatable as a gay player, and I think very educational for straight players as well. I think that people can find themselves sympathizing with his situation, and not to spoil anything about his backstory, but I will say that him being gay has caused a lot of troubles in his life, and the fact that he's overcome these troubles and managed to be the really fun, hilarious character that I grew to love in Dragon Age Inquisition is amazing.
I think you're very brave.
Brave?
It's not easy to abandon tradition and walk your own path.
I love Dorian not only because he's a great representation of the gay community, but also because he's just a great character, and I feel like anyone would want to have him on their team, regardless of whether or not they want to romance him or hear about his struggles with his family and coming out.
In Kunadar, Krem would be an Akunathlak. That's what we call someone born one gender but living like another.
And Kunari don't treat those Akun people any differently than a real man.
They are real men, just like you are.
Number 4 on my list is Krem from Dragon Age Inquisition. Yes, this is another Dragon Age Inquisition character, but like I said, Bioware is very passionate about LGBT representation. And what is truly fascinating about Krem is that he is one of the few representations of transgender characters that is very positive and informed. You know, there is so much misinformation going on about transgender characters, and I'm glad that more trans people are coming out, even trans celebrities like Caitlyn Jenner. But before that, so many people did not know what transgender was, and there's so much discrimination happening. Now, Krem talks about how he knew his whole life that he was a guy, but was born assigned the gender of female at birth because of the genitals that he was born with. See, this is how gender identity works. You were born with a certain biological sex, and often people assume that you identify with that biological sex. But the truth is, the gender that you identify with, whether you identify as male, female, or somewhere in between, is what's in your head. It's your emotions. And sometimes people are born assigned the gender of female at birth, or assigned the sex of female at birth, and they don't identify with that. They feel as though they are actually male.
Why did you decide to live as a man?
I didn't decide anything. I've been like this my whole life.
If you talk to him about these experiences, about living as male and passing as a male, he gives some really interesting responses. One thing that I found truly fascinating about his character is that he says he has no interest in changing himself. You can ask him if he wants to change himself with magic, which is basically the equivalent of going through what trans people would call bottom surgery, or gender reassignment surgery.
If you had the chance to use magic, would you change all the way?
What? No. I don't want any magic like that within 10 yards of my body. When I was younger. I don't know. Everyone has silly dreams. In Tevinter, dreams like that get you killed. Bull helped me make a good life. Nice armor and a well-placed sock, and I'm happy.
The truth of the matter is, many trans people don't want to go through the trauma of that surgery. They don't want to deal with the psychological and physical pain that comes with, you know, changing your sex. There can be so many complications. And Krem is very open about the fact that he doesn't want to change himself, that he totally feels like a man, is very comfortable with himself. And that is something that I think a lot of people need to learn, that people need to stop being so obsessed with trans people's genitals, that it's not about whether or not a trans person goes through surgery. What makes you male or female is here. It's how you feel. It's how you express yourself, and not just through dress or through your biology. So, however, I do have to mention that it is quite problematic that Krem was voiced by a cisgendered woman. In other words, a woman who was born female and identifies as female. Now, I think Jennifer Hale did a wonderful job, and I'm a huge fan of Jennifer Hale, but I think this is a topic that needs to be discussed in the community, is that more trans people should represent trans people through media, and that there are amazing transgender actors out there that could do a great job of representing these characters. Just look at Laverne Cox and her wonderful role in Orange is the New Black.
I lied. I didn't come here for a quick drink. No matter what happens, know that I love you. Always.
Number 3 on my list is Kaden from Mass Effect. Now, there are so many amazing Mass Effect characters that I can talk about, because Mass Effect has so many different romance options. You can romance a man or a woman, but the reason why I wanted to pick Kaden is because, unfortunately, you could not romance a man as another man until Mass Effect 3. And the options to romance Kaden were voiced in Mass Effect 1, but they took those options out last minute.
Bunk here tonight, Kaden. With me.
Is that an order, Commander?
Kaden, you make me feel I could take on the universe.
Now, I'm glad that BioWare decided to fix this problem, and I know that this just shows that a lot of gaming communities are afraid to represent gay men. They're less afraid to represent gay women because of a massive male audience, and they are afraid of offending that male audience. Now, although I would have liked to see Kaden as a gay romance option for Male Shepherd in Mass Effect 1, I was really pleased at how they handled the question of his sexuality in the 3rd game. Now, there is this amazingly tender scene between him and Male Shepherd if you decide to romance Kaden as Male Shepherd in Mass Effect 3. I'm sorry for the sound of the rain, if you can hear that. It's kind of pouring out there.
It's just, you plan a career, you focus, and then suddenly the world's ending and it's too late to find someone.
Someone?
We've been friends a long time, Shepard. Have you ever known me to be with anyone? I guess I'm just choosy or patient or... I don't know. Maybe what I've never found and what I want is something deeper with someone that I already care about.
I love that because it just shows that the stereotype about bisexual people being super promiscuous and just wanting to have a lot of sex with everyone of any gender, not being picky, is totally untrue. Bisexual people want romance, love, and affection just like everyone else. It's about romance and love. Yes, there are some bisexual people that are polyamorous and have open relationships, but that's a stereotype. Not everyone is like that, and not that I have anything wrong with that, but some bisexual people, they are monogamous. They have a relationship with one woman or one man at a time, and just because they're dating a man or a woman, it doesn't make them cease to be attracted to the same sex and the opposite sex. You can have a monogamous, loving relationship as a bisexual person.
I felt like I was gonna cry, but I wasn't sad. She got up and sat next to me on the bed. I looked at her. Lonnie, do you think you could ever... And that's when she kissed me.
Number 2 on my list is Lonnie and Samantha from Gone Home. Now, I'm not going to go too much into the plot because I want you all to experience it if you have not yet played the game. What I will say is that this game is a wonderful representation of the struggles of coming out at a young age to a religious family. I felt that I personally related to this story a lot. Just some of the responses the parents had to this girl coming out were very similar to the responses that my parents had when I came out. What I love about this game is that it's just about a romance. It's about a romance that anyone can relate to. And Gone Home really spearheaded having gay characters, gay main characters in games, and I feel that a lot of games followed suit after this. They saw the success of Gone Home and they realized that having gay characters does not necessarily turn people off. Yes, I will say that these characters were lesbians, and I think the gaming community is much more comfortable with having lesbians in games than gay men, and that's something that we really need to work on. But it is a great first step. It was a great first step for the gaming world, and it inspired by number 1 on this list.
You're like poetry, the crazy whirlwinds blows us from the corners of my mind.
Number 1 on my list is Ellie from The Last of Us, of course. Now, Ellie doesn't really have a label. She doesn't talk about whether she's bi, gay, pansexual, or whatever, and that is totally cool. What the Left Behind DLC was about young romance, and I think a lot of people can relate to that. The reason why Ellie having a relationship with a girl is so powerful is because she is, hands down, one of the most popular female characters in games of all time. She is one of the most recognized female characters, and the fact that Naughty Dog was able to explore this part of her personality so openly was amazing. There was a lot of backlash for this. People were pissed, which shows that, yeah, there's still a lot of homophobia that we need to work on in the community. Ellie is a well-rounded, likable character, and in the Left Behind DLC, the fact that she was in love with another girl is just one of the many exciting things about her story. This character changed my life in so many ways. I got to meet so many of you because of my Let's Play of Left Behind, and that's why Ellie will always have a very, very special place in my heart. So that was my top 5 list of LGBT characters in video games. I would love to hear some of your favorite characters that I missed in the comments section. Let me know what you want me to do my next top 5 video on, and until then, I should go. I feel pretty, oh so pretty. I feel pretty and witty and gay. Oh, one pity, and one who doesn't feel feel like me. I don't know the lyrics to the song. Woo! I'm gonna eat them biscuits, those Alabama biscuits at my wedding, and there's nothing you can do about it. No, there's nothing you can do about it. I'm gonna have a proper Southern wedding, y'all, and it is gonna have 2 brides, no groom, and there ain't nothing you can do about it, okay? Oh, you were so close. Oh. Yes! No!